Welcome in, folks. Clint.
What is this?
Nick.
What show is this?
David. Talk or go home.
Oh, it's an actual show.
So,
I ran out of shirts, so...
Ow. I just hit my knee.
I ran out of shirts.
So, I forgot. We got to get more consistent on the promo side of things and how we promo stuff.
Okay.
We got to get way more consistent. We're not going to.
Okay.
But we've got to.
Or go home.
So this is going to be my attempt to encourage everybody to subscribe to Lens Plus. Rate, review the podcast on whatever platform they're listening.
You know how you get better at this? We
How?
just record it, and you put it at the start of every episode.
That's cheating, though. It's not genuine.
Sure
it's
it
just
is.
a recording. I'm in the moment. I chose to remember it because it means something to me, to this podcast, for me to remember it and then try to convince them that they need to rate the podcast. Submit a review. Give us 5 stars, submit a review, or don't give us 5 stars, just review it.
Give us
rate
3.
It doesn't matter. Just give us a rating.
1.
Give us a review. If you don't like the show, let us know. If you do, let us know. On YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever. On Google Podcasts, it doesn't matter. And then if you want some bonus content, subscribe to Lens Plus. You're going to get episodes a week earlier than everybody else. You're going to get all our bonus content, all that good stuff. So, and we got more stuff coming down the pipe.
More stuff coming down the pipe.
More stuff coming soon that we've hinted at several times, but we have yet to announce. What are you doing?
Well, I think
are you playing cards over there?
Well,
Playing
yeah.
cards by myself.
Oh, okay.
Solitaire?
Hit me.
So,
What are we talking about today, Nick?
SNL.
Okay.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night. So,
Way past its prime.
well, that was going to be, really that was going to be kind of what I was going to start out with.
Okay.
Like,
I don't know. There's been
Do you feel like
times-
it's culturally as significant as it is now as it has been in the past?
Absolutely.
And
not.
will it ever be culturally as significant as it was, let's say like in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s?
So,
Because in my opinion, that was the peak. 90s, 2000s.
yeah, because you had those great casts, but you can't put down the 80s either because, you had
Was Eddie Murphy on there?
in the 80s.
I mean, he's the only cast member to host, right? Ever in
No.
SNL history?
No.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he was.
Sandler's been there.
No, I'm talking about while he was on the cast.
Oh, yes.
He
yes,
hosted.
that is true.
But see, those were the low years for
Yeah.
SNL. That's when they were like, he was the show, basically. Eddie
Right.
Murphy, people tuned in to watch him, that was it.
But, and people kind of forget that Chevy Chase was on there for a year, but,
I think people want to forget that
well, that's true.
because he was so hard to deal with.
But, I think, didn't Bill Murray get his start there?
Yeah, Bill Murray. Chevy Chase.
Steve Martin?
Did Steve Martin get his start on SNL, though?
I want to say he did, but I might be wrong.
I think Steve Martin was just like one of the first stand-up comedians.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't. Was he? He wasn't was he a cast? Was he on that first cast?
I thought he was.
I don't know. I can
Steve
find out.
Martin? I think he's known for being a stand-up comedian, but Chevy Chase was on there. Bill Murray.
God, they're on season 48.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That means season 50 is coming up.
Well, that's usually how that works.
No, you.
Love you. I don't know. Here's the thing, and it seems to be this way as of late. In my opinion, and I'm not the biggest Will Ferrell guy. Like, I think some of the stuff he does is funny and hilarious, but it seemed to me that he was kind of that last of that breed from the 90s to leave.
Yeah.
And it's not really been this. It's not been as consistent since. There's times when there's some stuff that's just freaking hilarious,
They
and then there's some times when it's just like they just go too far,
Yeah.
and there's times they make it way too political. In my opinion, either red or blue. I mean, they make it too political sometimes. So,
Well, the news, I think, is really funny right now. I think it's probably the funniest it's ever been, but it's way liberal, of course.
You're talking about Weekend Update?
Yeah, Weekend Update. But
I
I
agree.
think-
It is
yeah.
funny.
well,
What's funny is when
they're trying to crack each other
They
up.
make each other. Well, they make each other say
Tell each other's jokes.
inappropriate things.
yeah.
And like,
So that's the thing that's kept me watching. But or not kept me watching, kept me up to date with it. But Woody Harrelson just hosted the other
Yeah.
day, and I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought his whole show was very good.
See, I hadn't seen an entire episode since the 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been. And I remember
8
that
years.
being a big deal. And the only reason I was in college, and the only reason I wanted to watch was
Well, they did
because they
another
brought
one
everybody
not long
back.
Well, they did another one not long ago because it was like the first time Eddie Murphy had been back in a long time, and the first time Chevy Chase had been back in a long time, and like they had a lot.
Was Steve Martin on the cast? Did we figure
So the original 1975 cast, titled "The Not Ready for Primetime Players," included Lorraine Newman, John Belushi, Jane Curtin, Gilda Radner, Dan Aykroyd, Garrett Morris, and Chevy Chase. Gilda Radner was the first person hired after Lorne Michaels himself. Wow, did not know that. Chevy Chase only signed his one-year writer's contract. He refused to sign his performer's contract, which is why he left after 1 year. I don't see, after Chase left the show, he was replaced by Bill Murray.
Which I've always heard they don't really get along very well. Or
Which was interesting because, they shared
Caddyshack.
that scene in Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Which, if, one of my favorite podcasts, if you go ahead and listen to the Confused Breakfast's review of Caddyshack, they talk about, what's his name? The director of Caddyshack, the guy, he played it, he was one of the Ghostbusters. He was the nerdy guy on Ghostbusters. You know who I'm
I
talking
know who
about?
you're talking about.
Stangler, whatever his name was.
Spangler.
Spangler?
Yeah.
Spangler. Yeah, that character. The guy that played that character.
Yeah, because he
directed
was
the
he was
movie.
in Stripes with Bill Murray as well.
Yes, yeah. They didn't have a scene together because neither one of those characters was a main character. They were both cameo characters.
Sure.
Well, as they brought them on set, the director wanted to expand their roles in the movie because he thought their addition, the more screen time they gave the movie, the better the movie was going to become. And so that scene where they are together was not even in the script at all.
Really?
At least that's what the Confused Breakfast
Was
said.
Ghostbusters
That makes sense.
funny? Is that supposed to be a comedy?
It's kind of
Action,
dark,
adventure
dark
comedy?
maybe.
It's
I
got some
don't
funny
It's got
remember
moments.
some funny moments.
Yeah.
I don't remember laughing one time.
I don't think it's considered a comedy. I think it's considered more like an action adventure.
Should I watch it again? Would it be funnier now?
When was the last time you saw it?
Bill Murray's character is funny in it.
Oh, he's
because he's basically just
hilarious.
trying to get laid the whole time. I mean,
But some of the
can I say that
lines
here?
and
It's
his
not a triple threat.
sarcasm, I guess so.
I did. So
Stripes, I watched that. I would probably choose to watch Stripes.
Over
instead
Ghostbusters?
It
of
says it's a
Ghostbusters.
supernatural comedy film. Ghostbusters is a 1984 American supernatural comedy film directed and produced by Ivan Reitman. Harold Ramis directed Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Harold Ramis. Yeah,
I remember Ray Parker Jr. did the song. I think I bought that cassette tape.
Hey, that's a great song.
That was good, the Ghostbusters song, but the movie.
No, it's not Harold Ramis. Was it Harold Ramis?
Yeah. Yeah. He
Yeah,
passed away.
He was Russell Ziske in Stripes. He co-wrote both. Egon Spangler. Yeah.
Hey, back to the lecture at hand.
He died in 2014.
And had a ghostly cameo in the new Ghostbusters film.
I don't watch Saturday Night Live a whole lot now, but I do watch one every now and then.
Yeah,
So,
I
when you
usually
think
find
about-
reels or something on Facebook, and it kind of points to some stuff. Like I'll see the Weekend Update stuff, and that's pretty funny, just because it's written for somebody else, from a different point of view. And like you said, it is a little liberal for the most part.
Well, I'm
but-
gonna be honest, in my opinion, SNL is at its best when it parodies real life.
Yes.
When it's not trying to push an agenda, when it's not like every other medium, when it's not trying to force a belief system onto somebody or to something or to someone. I think SNL's best when it's just we're gonna do everything we can to take this weird situation and use it to make you laugh.
Are you talking about the Waffle House
Yes.
thing?
Yeah, that's one of the best SNL skits they've come up with in a long time, in my opinion. And who was the host? Jenny Ortega, I think. Look up SNL Jenny Ortega Waffle House skit.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
Now, I don't
Because
watch.
it's so true.
I don't watch it a whole lot, but that is 3 of the funniest things that I've seen in a while. Would be the Cologuard commercial.
Yeah, that was great with Woody Harrelson.
Are these
That
in
was
your top
amazing.
5? Well, these are like commercials. They're not going to be my skits.
I don't know. I don't know if
That Waffle
I
House
don't know.
thing, if it's a skit, that could be top 5. Now, the Cologuard thing and then that State Farm insurance thing was really funny, that commercial.
I don't remember that one. Which one?
You know where the State Farm guy takes
Oh,
the
where
man's
he's
place,
yeah.
and at
Yeah,
the
that's
end,
great. Yeah.
it drives him into the hands of the other insurance
Yeah.
company, and then the Waffle House thing, and then one commercial I remember from years ago was a beer commercial, and it was called Smith's Gay Beer. Do you remember that one?
I've watched it before.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Schmitz or Schmitz?
I think it was called Smith's Gay.
Smith's Gay Beer?
Yeah, Smith's Gay Beer. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Could they have gotten away with that today?
Well, I was thinking about a lot of things that they used to do that
Schmitz
Schmitz
Gay.
Gay, yeah.
Schmitz Gay with Sandler and Farley.
Yeah.
Schmitz Gay. Yeah.
I mean, could they do that?
Probably not. I highly doubt it.
Okay. That
Because
song,
it was obviously like a major parody.
well, I was thinking about that. That song that I was singing in the Bronco today, could they get away with that?
Which one?
Could you do that today? I think they could. I
You
think
think?
if the roles were right, I think one person could do that and get away with it, but another person couldn't.
I don't know, man.
Depends on who sings it.
Yeah. It depends on. I think it depends on who sings it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And
So you look
that
at-
was early. That was early in the beginning.
Now, when did it go bad? When did SNL get really bad? Because there was a time.
Smith's Gay. I love Smith's
I think Lorne Michaels left, like in the late '80s,
Yeah,
right?
so I guess when he left.
And then it got bad, and he came back, and it took him a while to get the wheels back on, right? It took him a little bit, but then the mid '90s, man, they started hitting their stride, and I mean, early to mid '90s through the early to mid 2000s.
Well, think about how many stars were created too during that time.
Oh yeah,
Like,
the biggest obviously being what, Will Ferrell.
I would argue it's probably Adam Sandler.
I wonder who's got bigger box office draw. Box office draw? And you know
Sandler,
what's
I'm sure.
ironic is he got fired from SNL. That's the ironic thing.
Really?
Sandler was fired from SNL. Was he not?
I believe you're right.
Lorne Michaels fired him. By the way, the fact that Mike Myers' Dr. Evil character is loosely based on Lorne Michaels makes me so happy.
Right.
Because if you listen to Lorne Michaels, you can hear the Lorne Michaels in that Dr. Evil. That's how Lorne Michaels talks.
Yeah, Sandler and Farley and all that bunch.
Well, Sandler and Farley, and then of course Spade, and Spade. I would argue Spade's probably had more small screen success than he has big screen success.
Small screen being, what do you mean?
TV. Just Shoot Me.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Rules of Engagement.
Rules of Engagement, exactly. So,
Emperor's New Groove was great.
yeah. And I'm trying to think, just like who else would have been during that time.
Well, Horatio Sands, I thought he was funny.
He was funny.
He wasn't there for long, I don't think.
Well, he was there for a couple of seasons, I want to say.
2 or 3, maybe 4.
He was there with Sandler.
Yeah.
Him and Jimmy Fallon.
Well, it
were
might have been
great
right
on screen
after
together.
though.
Like you could just tell.
And
like,
Jimmy
that,
Fallon might be probably the third out of that group. I feel like that's like most successful. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's doing the Tonight Show now, so maybe
Was that you or was that
possibly
the door?
that was me.
Okay.
Horatio Sands, he was in the Cork Soakers.
I was gonna,
But that's not in my top 5, though.
So
They took the.
It got
took the
really
corks and they
bad.
soaked 'em.
ratings got really bad.
Well, they're still not great, and that's the thing too. I think
in the mid '80s. Yeah.
I think too that like I don't understand why this show's still on sometimes. I don't understand why The Simpsons are still on because like people get their media differently now,
Yeah.
and these older shows just aren't as popular. Like they just don't strike the same nerve with the young generation like they did with us because television was such a big thing for us from the mid '80s all the way up to the mid 2000s.
Well, if you really loved a show, you scheduled your night around. Like I remember scheduling my Wednesdays around Lost.
Yeah. Well, see, and it just so happened that we were always over at Justin Williams' house on
Yeah.
a Friday night. So when we got done eating pizza and goofing off like we always did, we'd watch Saturday Night Live.
Well, I think people my age and your age probably still pay attention to it, know it's on, and watch it. But
Sure.
like today's, I mean, you probably you said you don't watch it much.
TV.
Yeah.
If
like
it's not a
Saturday Night
live,
I mean, you can't remember the last time you sat down and watched one.
if it's not a live sporting event, I'm probably not watching it.
Well, I
live on
record it.
TV.
I record it every week. If there's somebody on there I want to see,
Yeah.
I'll watch some of it.
Like they
See it.
had a skit the other day talking about the weather balloon. You know, the weather balloon that went from China coming all the way through. Where they had like this Asian guy that's on the show dressed up in this as a weather balloon. He's like, I'm just a lowly weather balloon, just out here floating. And all of a sudden, y'all shot me down. And I'm just sitting here floating in the ocean now.
Yeah.
And it was just funny.
Do you think was that funny?
I get what it was funny for SNL recently. Like it's not like, you know, Schmidt's gay. It's not
now, the Waffle House
fat guy in a
was
little
funny.
coat.
That was funny.
Yeah,
That
that
was
one was
great.
funny.
And they missed opportunities. They're so liberal sometimes. They miss opportunities. Because I was talking about this with Kamala Harris, Vice President. That speech she made to the basketball team after they got beat.
Yeah,
That would be a perfect opportunity
sure.
to do a skit on something like that. They missed an opportunity
But you know,
there.
Will Ferrell playing Janet Reno, like I know that's political, but that is hilarious
It is
to me.
hilarious.
Like it's not the same.
It's
You know,
so
they did all the Trump stuff, and it's not necessarily because of the political leanings. It's just like it's like low hanging fruit for them. Like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, this was funny. Let's just take it. It's
Exactly.
like used to like they go way overboard. Now I think that's why it was so funny. Like when Ferrell would do it, and who was it that did they had a guy that did the Clinton stuff, and was it not Ferrell that did George W. Bush?
Oh, and he did a great George W. too. Yeah.
I'm here 24/7. That's 24 days out of the month. 7 hours a day.
It
Got a
seemed
little
like,
cat nap in.
it sounded like Phil Hartman may have done some of that
I don't.
president stuff. Did he do
Did Phil Hartman do a president?
I don't know, but man, the
I miss
older
Phil
I
Hartman.
get, man, the more I miss.
He
Phil
did some
Hartman.
Clinton, didn't he? Didn't Phil
Did he?
Hartman do some Clinton?
I don't know.
I don't know if he did or not. I know Dana Carvey did Ross Perot, and that was hilarious.
Perot.
And I think he did Old Man Bush too.
Yeah, HW, yeah.
So
Yeah, because he went to the White House and did
yeah,
Bush at the White House.
Yeah. So
Not prudent.
no,
He went had
not prudent. But you know, in his own right, you know, George Bush, love him or hate him, he was funny no matter what. Anyway, the funniest thing I think George W. Bush ever did was when he left a speech and he walked to the right and went to some doors that were locked, and he twisted, like turned around and walked the other way.
Yeah. Was that in the Kremlin or something?
I think so.
Yeah, in
like he's
Russia?
sitting
Trying to
there
open the door.
doing a
Yeah.
speech, and he turns around and
he-
walks away, very presidential, and like and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And he like looks around and walks the other way.
I'm sorry.
Or at Trump's inauguration when he's trying to put the poncho on
Yeah.
and he's struggling with the poncho.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, that's just funny.
Yeah.
One of the funniest sketches that I've seen them do recently. Like that's what I would consider like a modern contemporary sketch. Ryan Gosling was the host, and it's the one where they're interviewing the 3 people about being abducted by aliens. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't guess I've seen this one.
You haven't seen this, dude? It's hilarious, and it's
You got the 2 girls.
the 2 girls.
What's
what's the
one of them
blonde-
just Leia.
Yeah, what's her name? Cecily Strong's one of them. Ryan Gosling, and then the other one that's the funny one. I can't remember because I say the funny one because she's like Ryan Gosling and Cecily Strong's character. They're like, we were taken up in this beautiful ray of light and floated in this amazing spaceship, and they set us down on this soft bed of grass. She's like, I got shot out of a toilet, and
Completely different from everybody else's mood.
like landed on the roof of a Long John Silver's or something, and I was naked and all kinds of stuff. And Ryan Gosling is over here. He can't like hide him breaking.
And I think that's a funny thing about
It is
that
too.
too. Like,
Yeah.
That's the
getting him to
funniest
break.
ones, yeah.
And Jimmy
Yeah.
Fallon was the worst. Like,
I don't know. Bill Hader was bad too.
Yeah, he was. Jimmy Fallon breaking character, like that was so funny that it made it to like Family Guy.
Yeah,
It's like, because there's a part where like somehow or another the Griffins go on their version of Saturday Night Live, and he's like, you know, beating up Jimmy Fallon's like, you're always breaking character and all this. Now where's the SOB that slept with my daughter? And it turned out to be Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
And he's already beat him up, so it was just I don't know.
one of the most memorable episodes in terms of like knowing or seeing him break character was when Horatio Sands was in it, but it was that episode where Sean Hayes hosted, and this was from the 90s, and so Will and Grace was real popular. I guess that's why they had Sean Hayes on. But it's Jimmy Fallon and Sean Hayes, and they're 2 workers in like this, you know, goth, punk, modern, diesel type Boutique and
Jimmy Fallon, he's cracking the whip.
No. This isn't that one. I've seen that one. This is.
I can't find that.
And they're talking about we've got to go to Milan or whatever. And Will Ferrell pulls in on a little scooter, and he gets a phone call, and he opens up this phone that's like this large. He's, hello. I'm going to Milan. Pack your bags. He closes. I'm going to Milan. Pack your bags. And they're all just breaking down.
And doesn't he have a trouble with the scooter getting it turned around?
He bumps into it,
stuff, and Will Ferrell's about to lose it too.
Yeah, it's great. It's man, it's amazing. It's just when they break, it's just like Bill Hader and the Californians.
Yeah.
When Fred Armisen walks in.
But see, I don't like the Californians.
I think it's hilarious.
I don't like it.
That first one where it's like, hopped on the 405 and go back to Mulholland where you belong. And Bill Hader's just like, and he's supposed to do the, like that stare into the camera where it's like he's scared or shocked and he misses his cue and it makes him break even more.
Yeah.
And then there's that one where him and Bill Hader and Fred Armisen are bellhops at a hotel or something. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Or they're concierges or bellhops, doormen, whatever. And the people are coming out and they have to deal with them and they're talking and they just completely break down saying stupid. They have a weird accent, like a Russian accent, and they break down what they're saying. I don't know. When they break character, to me, it just adds to the effect that it's live. I mean, it's live.
It's live.
We're doing it live.
But speaking of live, I think one of the great things too, again, this is yesteryear. You get like Sinead O'Connor, like she's been banned, can't come back, whatever, for all of her stuff that she did during her live performance. But like they even said the same thing about Nirvana. Nirvana, Smell Like Teen Spirit was the big thing back in the 90s. We want you to come on and play that song. And they're like, well, we want to play a different song. They're like, no, you can't play a different song. So they come out, the first song they played, Smell Like Teen Spirit. The next song they played one they weren't supposed to play, and it got over. So they're like, okay, I guess it's okay. And like, so it's just that kind of like behind the scenes drama of stuff. You don't hear about that anymore. Everybody's like we're going to do this song. Okay, we're going to do this song. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay, that's fine. There's no like, they don't like, if it's scheduled to do this, they're going to do it. And they're not necessarily going to break character or break away and kind of go into business for themselves, so to speak. So, I guess that maybe the spontaneity of it is kind of gone as well.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it is. And now it's just everybody's trying to break character and trying to get somebody to break character, like here, if I, did something and made you laugh, obviously I made you break character here on this show right now. And it seems to me that's what more of that's about. And honestly, I don't think it's like as funny either. Like, it's one thing to break character because of a funny moment or a funny joke, but it's another thing to break character just because you're on live TV and you just panic and all you can do is laugh. And I feel like...
Well, what about Stefan? Bill Hader's Stefan character on Weekend Update, you know what I'm talking about? He would come in and review... Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you know why he would do that?
Because he was cracking up.
Now, do you know why he was cracking up?
No.
Because one of the writers... Oh, I can't remember his name. One of the writers for that... I think he might have been the head writer at the time. He's a comedian now. He's gone off and done his own thing, and I cannot think of his name. Skinny guy, brown hair, semi-tallish to average height. I can't remember his name. Anyway, clean cut. He would so they'd do jokes in rehearsal. Mm-hmm. Well, he'd go in between rehearsal and the live show, change or add stuff to the joke. So the first time he would read it
was then
like there's a joke that Stefan does something about. I forget the guy, but he says like a guy's name, Carl somebody maybe, I can't remember. Anyway, but like that was the first time Bill Hader had read that.
Yeah,
and so a part of his he would do this as Stefan to hide the fact, like cover his mouth and nose to hide the fact that he was laughing and breaking character because that guy, that other writer, was trying
to get him to break
trying to make him break character on TV. And so Bill Hader, being the professional that he is doing everything he can to hide the fact that he's breaking character.
Yeah.
But so to me, I think it's those nuances behind that make it cool,
But see, like I view that SNL used to be a little bit more edgy, like not edgy, like you were talking about. We can't get away with some of the stuff now that we did back then.
But they're a part of that problem, though.
Because
they're reinforcing a narrative of PC, progressive. Like they're definitely aiming at one sect of the population and making fun of the other.
And I think, like, love it or hate it, people kind of gravitate either to or away from the Chappelle Show whenever it was on. But whenever Dave Chappelle's on Saturday Night Live, it draws ratings. You can say whatever you want about it. It will draw a rating because people can't wait to see what he's going to say because he's very non-script anyway. And I think some of those right there have been some of the best ones because it's basically real talk at that point. Like, I wasn't big into Saturday Night Live, back in the 80s heyday of Eddie Murphree or whatever, but Eddie Murphy as Buckwheat is freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Joe Piscopo.
Yeah, and who was it, the hot tub?
Yeah.
James Brown's hot tub.
Yeah.
That's hilarious to me. But, like, it can't get over now.
Oh, Buckwheat. I was thinking about that the other day. I got shot. Buckwheat got shot.
Oh, Tay. So
he sang Free Frames of Matey. Who wrote that song?
I don't know.
Did Lionel Richie do that one too?
Maybe.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady.
No.
Was that Kenny Rogers? That's Kenny Rogers one.
Might have been.
So
do y'all have like a favorite performer? Like,
let me throw this out there.
Okay.
Hold on, because this sort of we'll get to that. Kenan Thompson speculated in August, who's been a longtime cast member, speculated in August 2022 that Saturday Night Live may come to an end altogether after its 50th season in 2025.
Yeah.
Lorne Michaels said in an interview on CBS Mornings that he is, quote, committed to doing the show until its 50th anniversary. I'd like to see that through, and I have a feeling that would be a really good time to leave, end quote. Thompson has stated that it would make sense financially for NBC to end the show after Michaels' retirement. So,
they're losing money. They're probably losing money.
Well, when you look at the ratings here, I've got their ratings right here. Their ratings for the 2020-2021 season drew about 9 million people an episode.
But see, that's during the pandemic, and that's when like people are at home and they're waiting for something new.
And that's, when you go back to 2016 when they were averaging just over 10 million viewers an episode, 9 million viewers an episode, 10 million viewers an episode, 8 million viewers an episode.
Where's the dip? Where's the big dip at though?
05.
So that's right. That's right after Farrell left. I'm pretty sure.
Up to 08, they barely averaged. They could barely get 7 million. They didn't even
see,
get
I don't know what
million
that number actually means anymore because, like, are people actually watching it or is it just happen to be on? You can go to a local barbecue spot and this one be on Fox, this one be on ABC, and this one over here be on NBC, and maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But I just have a hard time saying that they're getting 10 million views, especially when you look at something like USFL or XFL, and I know those are ESPN or even Fox even, but like they can't get that many views, but it's football. Maybe it's bad football, don't get me wrong, but you're telling me SNL outdraws any kind of football? I just don't buy that.
Well, I mean, I do feel like, especially nowadays, SNL is definitely aimed at more of an urban, young urban audience. But I feel like the medium that it's on, primetime network television, that's you're aiming at an audience that's not there when and where you want it to be.
Sure.
So they're casting all these minorities, all these progressives, all these liberals, and they're trying to make it young and relevant and new. But the very nature of the show and the fact that it's live on a Saturday night on primetime network television makes it unwatchable by the very audience with which you want to watch it, because that's not where that audience is.
No.
They're not on NBC. They're not scrolling through their DirecTV or cable or whatever.
They're not going through their TV
they're
on a Friday night.
out on Saturday night doing something. So guess what? If they're going to watch it, they're going to record it.
Or they're going to get it through a streaming service of some sort.
Exactly.
Like
or watch it on demand.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that leads me to this too. Like, if you change the medium and you put Saturday Night Live on HBO and you can basically do whatever you want, is it better? I don't know if it is.
I don't know. I think a part of the magic is that they have to restrain themselves. They have to make it work with restraint. Yeah.
Right. So, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Like what can you fix to make it better?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can at this point.
Yeah.
Now I will say one thing. I think that SNL recently, I think they have a star in the making with Kenan Thompson. and I think it's really revitalized his career from being this Nickelodeon kind of kid, whatever, and all of a sudden he kind of went away. And now he's back, and he kind of got his revived start at SNL. And I think he's eventually going to be, the next kind of star out of it. But to me, like, Kenan Thompson's not really all that funny, me personally.
Kenan Thompson's been on SNL since 2003.
See, that's
He's
crazy.
been on 20 years.
That's
I think
crazy.
he's funny. I think he's funny.
I love Kenan Thompson. And to me, his Jeopardy host is great.
The Black Jeopardy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he does all of them, right?
I guess
All
now.
the Jeopardy
I don't know if they do
skits.
that skit anymore. Obviously, Trebek passed away.
Burt
And-
Reynolds.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Norm
Norm
Macdonald played
Macdonald.
him, wasn't
See, Norm Macdonald's weekend updates were like, holy crap, I can't believe he just said that. Like,
Well, you talking about if it was on HBO, but I don't even watch. Could watch HBO, but I don't even watch anything on HBO anyway.
I'm just saying, like, if it was better and more edgy because you could get away with doing some stuff that you can't get by with on network TV, would it help the show's ratings? Maybe
I
not,
think it's
because then
bad.
you're limiting who actually can watch it.
It's bad enough anyway.
Yeah, it is.
No.
It is. So, but I'm with y'all. I'll watch a highlight and say, hey, I got to go back and watch that. So
That's insane. Kenan Thompson is the show's longest serving cast member. I mean, dude, 20 years.
see, I think like,
20
he's just been there
years.
like the last 4 years. I didn't know he was there for 20 years. Now.
20 years. And they don't make like a ton of money. Like they maybe make
no.
$150,000 a year or $200,000 a year. Which, I mean, when you think TV, like you think.
Yeah, but you think living
money.
in New York, that ain't a lot of money.
Exactly. Well, I mean, Kenan Thompson may be the exception to that rule because he's been there so long. But
He's been
I
in
mean,
some movies too.
yeah.
That's all you make. That's all they make.
I think so. I don't.
200,000.
I don't think the compensation's a lot. I read that somewhere. I could be wrong. It's not. I'm not reading it here, but
He probably makes more than that.
yeah, there's no way he doesn't. I mean, but when I read that blew my mind. That was it. That was their compensation. That might be like a year, first season type cast member. Which there's two different kinds of cast members. There's what the show calls repertory players, and then featured players. And repertory players, I think, that's like your main cast,
Right.
And then your featured players are your folks that get a little bit less airtime that still have to prove themselves.
Sure.
Your newer folks, like everybody on the 2022-2023 cast that are featured players, they've all joined within the last 2 years. Everybody else that's a repertory player, excuse me,
Has been there for a minute.
has been there since 2000. Like Kenan Thompson's a
Yeah.
repertory player, so. Yeah, Kenan Thompson is the oldest cast member by 11 years.
Wow.
The next two most tenured are Michael Che and Colin Jost, who host Weekend Update, and they joined in 2014.
So who's got the longest run of any cast member ever?
I think it's Kenan Thompson.
Is it Kenan
I think it's
Thompson?
Kenan Thompson at 20 years.
That's crazy. Favorite host?
Man, that's tough.
Like anytime they get somebody that's been on their 5-time, you get to the 5-time club or
Yeah.
whatever. Those are always good. I feel like so. Steve Martin episodes are really good. It seems like
Yeah, I like that. Steve Martin. Martin Short. I like
Martin
that he's on
Short's
there.
a good one. Justin Timberlake's usually pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Will Ferrell's good.
Will Ferrell's
I like
good.
Will Ferrell's hosting.
I tell you one that maybe it's overrated now, but at one point it was kind of underrated. Is the one with Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now they've tried to capture that magic ever since then.
Yeah,
they
they have.
can't. They can't replicate it because it feels like it's the same jokes that he did with somebody else, like Michael Phelps. Like
Yeah.
Michael Phelps getting up there and shaking like that. That doesn't do the same thing as Peyton does because you see Peyton,
But Peyton's funny. Like Peyton
Peyton is-
he's naturally funny.
and you wouldn't expect it.
No.
Peyton's Places on ESPN Plus is a hilarious thing to watch.
He's got a great sense of humor.
He really does. And like I would love to see him as like, who was I want to say Bart Starr, but Bart Starr wouldn't know. I guess Joe Namath would be the closest Hollywood guy,
Yeah.
since that time or before that time. But anyway,
I would. I don't know. That's tough. That's tough to determine who is my favorite host. I guess I really hadn't thought about it.
yeah. like I said, the 5-timers club stuff, I mean, like, that's a reoccurring joke, and you can do it with anybody that's done it 5 times. And what you do, you end up bringing all the other 5-timers on, and y'all have this, here you are with this smoking jacket. And, like, it's played out, and it's just, but it's still funny.
I thought probably John Goodman, I thought he was always pretty good on there.
Yeah. And he was.
He's hosted good many times. And Woody Harrelson.
I think Jim Carrey being in it was pretty funny because culturally, he got his start in Living Color.
Yep.
That was a Fox thing, and then of course, that went away, and then after a couple of years, they had Mad TV for a little bit. And is that not where Horatio's got his start?
Was he a Mad TV guy?
I want to say he might have been, but don't hold me to that. But they've seen some competition come and go, and they're still going. Whether they're going strong or not, it's debatable, but. They're still going. It's almost been 50 years.
I wouldn't say they're going strong right now. I feel like Saturday Night Live is I'm not going to say they're treading water, but they've definitely got their head above water, and they're not drowning like
they're
they
going
were
through a big change right now.
Yeah, they just had a big turnover. Big turnover.
And maybe if you put somebody in it besides Lorne Michaels, maybe it does better. I don't know. You don't think so?
You don't think so? I don't think so either. There's something about that, the way he thinks, that makes...
But the way he thinks may be what makes the show feel old. Not nostalgic, but old. And I'll give you a good example of that. And don't shun me when I say this. Vince McMahon, WWE.
Yeah.
Going in the tank. People were tired of it. Now it took a sex scandal to get him out, but he got out. Why do you keep looking? I know it's small.
No, I'm looking at the seams.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they're busting. I understand.
I like it.
I understand. Thank you.
It's hot.
Schmidt's gay.
All right. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. But yeah, it took a sex scandal to get him out, but now somebody else is kind of leading it and doing all the writing, and it's gotten fun, it's gotten creative, and it's brought people back into watching. And I'm wondering if maybe it just needs a shot in the arm kind of thing. Maybe a Will Ferrell coming in. Will Ferrell does the funnyordie.com or whatever.
Used to, yeah.
Well,
before him and Adam McKay broke up.
Right.
Yeah.
But, maybe you get an Adam McKay in there. I don't know. I'm just saying, just somebody comes in with a little different view and makes it fun and relevant again.
I almost feel like if you don't change the platform or the way that it's distributed, it's not going to matter. To me, the problem isn't the guy running it. To me, the problem is inherent to the format that it's in. It's a live Saturday night program on an outdated medium of live network television. Like to me, it's the format that's the main problem. Not to say that it wouldn't benefit it if Lorne Michaels left, but I don't know.
That WWE, is that the same audience, or is that a different audience? Is that people that have come back to watching it, or is it just a totally new audience?
Bit of both. But
that's why I'm thinking with Saturday Night Live had a big change. It would just probably be a totally new audience.
But, that's the thing, too. A lot of people will say that any kind of competition will either make or break you. For years, WWE's had nothing. Well, they've got AEW now, and they're like, oh, well, all these younger kids are going to this. We got to do something to kind of compete. Now they got to up their game to compete or they're going to fail. It's the same thing with Saturday Night Live with In Living Color. I remember watching In Living Color because it's the hip new thing. It was catchy. It was new. It was kind of edgy at the time. You had with the Fly Girls come out there and dance and all that kind of stuff. And then that went off, and then Mad TV came, and it was a different way of doing it.
Mad TV's what I remember big time.
Right. Kenny Rogers' Jackass from Mad TV is freaking hilarious. Mm-hmm. Like they would never have done that on SNL. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like. There's that, there's a line there that, not necessarily a line, but there's like something there they wouldn't cross because it's not like a real world thing. I don't feel like Burt Reynolds doing Celebrity Jeopardy. You can see Burt Reynolds doing Celebrity Jeopardy. Could you see Kenny Rogers doing Jackass? No. Like, that was something that they said, hey, let's put this. It's like a spinny wheel. It said, spin this one. Kenny Rogers Jackass, make it go.
Yeah.
And it was new. Like it wasn't anything that was just easy to come up with, but it was kind of edgy and new, and it worked.
Yeah. I guess if there was a big change, I guess I might watch it. But like late night TV,
I don't watch late night TV.
Well, see, I don't either. Like after Letterman and Conan, I don't watch any of it.
Yeah,
anymore. That's one guy I find funnier and funnier and funnier.
Right now?
The older I get.
Conan?
Yeah.
Are you
I don't know
watching
why.
him on something right now?
No, I'm going back and watching it. Well,
Yeah.
he's got that podcast.
I don't.
He's got a podcast, and it's really good.
Is he not on TBS anymore?
I think he's on HBO.
Okay.
Because it was Carson and Letterman, and then eventually Conan. But after Conan left, I don't watch any
See, I think
late night
everybody's
anymore.
I think the things that everybody can watch are so different now that they just kind of look for anything but TV.
Well, those are just my guys, and then when
Yeah.
they left, I just, even though I like those other people on Saturday Night Live, I don't pay any attention to it. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm not interested.
But
in
like,
it.
what brings you back to the Cowboys?
What do you call?
Staubach's not there.
What do you call
Aikman's not
that?
there.
Midlife crisis. Is that what it is?
Okay.
Is that what you call it?
Okay.
What do you call it besides midlife crisis? What's that term?
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. There's another one. You're longing for those things of the past.
Yeah.
That
Nostalgic.
nostalgia.
Yeah.
Nostalgic. Yeah.
Conan O'Brien from 1998. Excuse me, from 1988 to 1991 was a writer.
Yes.
At SNL.
Yes.
And wrote
And for a year, maybe two, he's with the Simpsons too.
Yeah, and wrote from 91 to 93. He left SNL to go write for The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Why do I want to buy a vet so bad?
Corvette.
You've had
No,
a
a
bad.
Chevette. I can afford a Corvette. I can afford a
Good luck
Chevette.
finding one.
A Chevette?
Chevette.
Yeah. Hatchback. I can afford one of those.
That's great.
I might drive it down and watch the Stallions game.
There you go. No, you won't. You hate the Stallions now.
I'm trying to figure out. In 2018, Conan O'Brien's production company, Team Coco, partnered with Earwolf to launch his own weekly podcast, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. The podcast debuted with Will Ferrell as the first guest.
You listen to it? Is it good?
I've seen clips. I haven't listened to an entire episode. In May 2022, the podcast, as well as the entire Team Coco digital media business, was sold to Sirius XM for $150 million.
Wow.
So
I could live on that. I could buy a vet with that.
you could buy a
A
real
Chevette?
Yeah.
A
Two
Chevette?
of them. Two Chevettes.
Two Chevettes.
Chibi Chevette.
Samantha. Oh, that's
So, favorite skit of all time?
All right. You been doing my
Well,
five?
favorite cast member of all time. Let's do that one first.
favorite cast member of all time.
Yeah. Famous, not famous, whatever. Who's your favorite? Like you would turn on the TV and wait to watch that guy.
Bill Hader.
Okay.
It's got to be Bill Hader. Will Ferrell, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, they're all up there.
Yeah.
Bill Hader owned me
Yeah.
in just about everything he did. That's just me.
I don't know. I guess I'd have to go back to the Eddie Murphy
Yeah.
days and Joe Piscopo, I thought.
See,
That was pretty good.
mine for obvious reasons is probably Chris Farley. Like I would watch Chris Farley. Now, like and he's one of my favorites of all time, obviously. But it's like you just had a different kind of funny with him, and like he was relatable because he's kind of an every guy, but he's super funny too. Like you could really relate to him. Minus the coke and alcohol.
Yeah, I know which one's going to be your favorite one. Probably I just thought about it. I didn't have that one. I know what your favorite's going to be, I'm sure.
Okay, I can't wait to hear that.
You mean to say what I think your favorite one's going to be?
I guess Nick's just now making his.
I am.
Okay.
The Chippendale Dancer? Is that your favorite?
That's got to be his favorite.
That's
Is
in
that
my
number
top
one for
five.
you?
That's in
Is
my
it?
top five.
Is it your number one?
So,
Hold on. Did you say who your favorite performer was?
Yeah, probably Eddie Murphy
God, that's such a good one
and
too.
Joe
Yeah.
Piscopo.
Golly.
That era. The Chippendale Dancer not going to be in my top five, but I just now thought about that. That was
hilarious.
that was
and it's
great.
got, and that's the thing too. Like, if your joke has staying power and people are still talking about it, if your skit has staying power and people are still talking about it, then it was a good skit.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that in 2 years from now anybody's going to be saying anything about that weather balloon skit, or the color guard skit with Woody Harrelson, with the color guard boxes coming to get your poop.
God, that was
funny.
perfect. That was perfect. Apolitical.
Sure.
It leaned into the comedy and was tongue in cheek with the host.
Yep. And then kind of got dark with the little cartoon boxes coming to steal your poop.
But I mean, funny though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny.
Hilarious.
Like
And now every time I see that commercial, that's all I can think of is that little box coming to steal my poop.
Yeah.
Holding a knife, like, I'm here to get your poop. Don't make me get it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I laughed harder at that Waffle House thing.
That Waffle
God,
House.
that Waffle House skit was amazing.
Because you could really go somewhere and see that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I have.
Anywhere
I
in
think we
Florida.
all have. I think
Anywhere
we've
in
all
Florida,
witnessed a
for
Waffle
sure.
House being like that, or a Huddle House or something. I mean,
But see, here's the thing with Saturday Night Live skits before we get into our tops, and I guess I should start writing some stuff down. But the SNL skits to me are going to be a lot like movies. Like everything's going to be in my top 5. There might be 15 in my top 5. But I would never tell you what's my favorite. Like I love the UNICEF commercial that Peyton Manning did with the kids. When he's like sitting there playing football, he's like, "Hey, go long" or whatever, and he hits him in the back of the head.
Yeah, that's
like,
good.
That crap is you'll never beat that. Not with Peyton Manning for sure. But the Chippendale skit, Schmidt's gay, Van Down by the River.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness, like the list can go on with. Like I could probably have a top 5 for 3 or 4 different cast members.
Oh yeah, it's hard to have a top 5. I got 5.
Okay.
But it's hard to have a top 5.
It really is. That's I can't commit to a top.
It's like top
I got
5
5.
songs,
Go ahead.
All right, y'all go ahead, and I'm not going to partake with a top 5 because I can't narrow it down, but I'll tell you some of my favorites.
All right, that I got 2.
You give one, I'll give one.
No, I got 2 that I want to mention before I get to my top 5. Didn't make the top 5.
Honorable mention
Is the Chopping Broccoli song by Dana Carvey. You ever seen that when him and Phil Hartman was in there, where he's just making up songs, chopping broccoli? And then the one Gus Chiggins with Will Ferrell. The Gold Prospector.
Chiggins.
I thought that was hilarious. They all broke character.
Because they did that with a cold open one time, is it not?
I don't know if that was a cold open.
I think it was a cold open.
I don't know. They all broke character with that one, too, and that was hilarious. All right, go.
All right.
I hadn't done my top 5 yet.
Well, so my honorable mention, the Californians, the first one, okay? And the one that I mentioned about with Will Ferrell and Sean Hayes and Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands in the store in the
Gap or whatever it is.
But my if I'm going to put a number on it, my number 5 is the Gus Chiggins Old Prospector skit. That's my number 5 because there were so many killers. Tracy Morgan, Will Ferrell,
Horatio's in there.
Horatio Sands. Who's the guy at the front playing the officer? Jimmy Fallon, but who's the guy up front? He played at Night at the Roxbury. Chris Kattan is in it. Yeah, like killer freaking cast. Kenan Thompson might have been in there. Killer freaking cast. Great. Laughed my butt off. Laugh my butt off every time I watch it.
5? You want me to do 5?
You do your 5, and then I'll come back to me, and we'll just hear it.
All right, number 5 was when Jaws was popular. They had the shark knocking on the door. It's not. I don't think it's real funny, but
just the context of it's funny.
He's knocking on the door, and then they'll say, "Who is it?" And he'll say, "Candygram." The reason I like that one is because I do that when people come knock on my door. I'll just yell out Candygram, and none of the students know nothing what I'm talking about. But like it could be the superintendent at the door, but I'll still yell out Candygram.
What do you yell at? What do you yell when somebody knocks on the bathroom?
Come in, and your sub. He had a sub.
He texted me Friday.
He had a sub. People kind of know I say come in when they knock on the door. That's what's going on. His sub was here the other day and knocked on the bathroom door, and I said come in. He wouldn't expected it.
Yeah.
He did it to a random person.
Yeah, a random person.
He did it to a random person.
Yeah, but like I say that Candygram, and nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, me? Okay, here we go. The Jason Sudeikis, Jamie Foxx court scene where Jason Sudeikis is that old country, like Colonel Sanders type judge.
Yes.
Woo, Lordy! Talking like that, and Jamie Foxx breaks character because Jamie Foxx is the bailiff,
right?
Oh God, dude, you know what I'm talking about?
The court scene.
Woo, sweet child! Jason, he just gets me every time.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
God.
That's good.
Yeah, that's my number 4. Sorry.
All right,
Candygram.
All right, the Debbie Downer. with
Man.
Lindsay Lohan.
Yes, I love that
there.
skit. God,
I like
dang
all
it.
them, but the one when she was on there, when they all, cause Horatio's on that one.
Yeah,
they all
where
broke
they're at
character.
Disney World
Yeah, they all
and-
broke character in that too.
Sweaty balls.
Yeah.
Sweaty balls. That's a pretty funny one because
Yeah.
it's sweaty balls.
Yeah,
I
I thought about that. I thought about writing that one down.
The hot tub skit, my number 3. The hot tub skit with Will
that's in
Ferrell
mine. That's in mine.
and the Debbie Downer chick. What's her name? What is her name?
Rachel Dratch.
Rachel Dratch.
Yeah.
With
So
Will Ferrell and Rachel Dratch.
And so there's several of those. Which one's your favorite?
The OG with Jimmy Fallon.
With Jimmy Fallon and
I can't remember.
Well, you got
E.T. girl. What the heck is her name?
I don't know.
51st Dates.
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Is that the original?
Because
that
Lindsay Lohan might be the one I'm thinking about.
Well, you got Celebrity Hot Tub too with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Celebrity Hot
Gotta
Tub.
get in the hot tub. Ooh, water's a little hot.
Hot Tub,
Will?
Will
Will Ferrell?
SNL. Let's see. Hot Tub, Will Ferrell, SNL skit.
Because it's the one with Jimmy Fallon, and he's like,
Hot Tub Lovers.
Yeah.
Now, there's a good Hot Tub one with
Drew Barrymore?
with Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah. That was hilarious.
That's an honorable mention too. Excuse me. Where Jim Carrey is
It's the
lifeguard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
so
he throws the thing out. Nobody can go in the deep end now.
Yeah. Hold on. So this is.
You better not play too much.
No. Yeah. It's not 51st Dates. It's Stranger Things. What's her name?
No, this one I'm talking about is Drew Barrymore. You're talking about Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. Yeah. That's Winona Ryder, Jimmy Fallon, and then Will Ferrell and Rachel Dratch's character come in. Oh, darling.
Darling lover.
Darling lover. Yeah, gosh, hilarious.
Above the water is calm, but underneath the water, the hands are mingling. Jimmy Fallon goes,
It's hilarious, dude.
and like
Oh my
Jimmy Fallon,
gosh.
because when I'm talking about, Jimmy Fallon is like losing it. And he's like, and Will Ferrell keeps going, David. And finally Jimmy Fallon goes, oh, yeah.
Okay, that's the one I'm talking about then. That's the one I'm
that's
talking
got
about.
Drew Barrymore in it.
Okay, that's Drew Barrymore. That's the one I'm talking about. I guess the original was Winona Ryder.
Yeah, and they have like the lamb chop or whatever. They're
Yes,
both like trying
yeah.
to eat it. Like,
Dave,
taste the lamb chop.
David. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, where are we at? Number 3?
You're on 3.
All right. I like the Californians when they break character. There's one in particular when they break character. I can't remember who's the female cast member.
Kristen Wiig?
Yeah, she's on
Yeah.
there. Yeah, there's one of those that was so hilarious to me when they all just broke down. But I like the Californians anyway.
It's like I said, that's
Pretty
in
much
my,
any of the
That's in my
Californians.
honorable mention. Yeah, they did a good Californians, and I can't remember who was in there. I think on the SNL 40, they did a Californian skit. It was really good, but they did it live, I think. Speaking of the 40th anniversary SNL episode, Celebrity Jeopardy from that episode, where Will Ferrell comes back and plays Alex Trebek,
And
then
Alex
you've got
Trebek comes out.
Jim Carrey comes and plays Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald comes back and plays Burt Reynolds. You know, you got a whole like a bunch of OG Celebrity
Right.
Jeopardy people. Freaking hilarious. Jim Carrey misses one of his sound cues, and it's funny. It's awesome.
Yeah, the Celebrity Jeopardy with French Stewart, or is it Jimmy Fallon playing French Stewart, I believe, and somebody I can't remember the guy that played Sean Connery. He was always hilarious.
Yeah, he was a writer
Oh, okay.
because he also plays Trump sometimes.
Okay.
That same.
That's
guy.
right,
He's
that's
he's a
right.
writer, but yeah.
And then Norm Macdonald as Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
An album cover, like the categories an album cover, and then Sean Connery get up there and go, I'll take anal bum cover for 400 Alex.
Everything has got to be sexual with that Sean Connery character.
This is the sound a doggy makes.
That's not what your mother was saying last night, Trebek.
Moo. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Well, that's the sound your mother was making.
Just terrible, but funny. Go ahead.
What's the difference between your mother and a duck?
All right, there was Martin Short was playing like the Queen's assistant.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Bill Hader was
The doctor?
gynecologist.
Yeah, the gynecologist.
And that was pretty good one.
That was hilarious. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
God, that's funny. All right, so my number one. I mean, y'all knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Everybody that's listening knows what I'm about to say.
Did you do two?
Yeah, I did my
Okay.
two.
What
The
is?
Celebrity Jeopardy?
Okay.
40th anniversary. But my favorite is just because it's so culturally significant, but it's funny and it's simple and it's just so funny. Like, and I think a part of the reason that it's funny is it's got Christopher Walken in it, but the more cowbell with Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan and Jimmy Fallon and Horatio Sands, all those guys. It's just
really
so funny.
explore the room.
But what the funniest part about it is not what anything says or not what anybody says. It's the fact that Will Ferrell's shirt gets higher and higher every time, and the more he like the physical comedy of that is just. I think it gets me every time.
I didn't hear a whole lot out of you guys. Like I always
That's my
thought
number
that
one.
Adam Sandler's Opera Man was pretty funny. Like it's kind of annoying, but it's pretty funny. I do like the Hurley Boy. That makes me laugh uncontrollably every time I hear it.
What now?
The Hurley Boy. So it's basically like this. How would you describe it? It's like this infomercial.
Yeah.
And like you've got Chris Farley, and he's like, "Hi, here at the Hurley Boy, we offer this service, whatever." And all of a sudden it pans over to Adam Sandler, and Adam Sandler's like, "Please let me watch your fish. Let me watch your fish. I will feed your fish." He's like, "Man, just let the boy help. You know, he's here to help. Just let him help." And it goes back over to Adam Sandler's like, "Let me stay in your house. I'll just stay in the corner." And then Will Ferrell or Chris Farley's like, "Let the boy stay in your house."
The Hurley
I
Boy
remember
house
that now.
sitting service. Yeah.
What about Goat Boy? I remember Goat Boy.
Goat Boy. Goat Boy was funny.
Yeah, I got cowbell number one.
Hello.
Yeah.
And they
Give
play
me one of
that
your
that
plants.
skit at the Mississippi State games, right?
Yeah. They play it
Cowbell.
at they'll like more cowbell and like Christopher Walken, that little excerpt. I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell. and the whole stadium erupts. And,
Yeah. The Lunch Ladyland skit with Adam Sandler
yeah, man. God,
and
that's funny.
Chris Farley was hilarious. Of course, everybody's dressed up as the different food items coming out. At one point, I knew every word of that song. I don't know why. It's just that funny. And honestly, I think that's probably my top two. You start looking at different people, like anything with Farley and Sandler in it was really, really funny. I don't know why it was so funny, but it was really funny. Because they did one. It was this old man and this old woman. Well, Chris Farley's dressed up as this old woman. And, like, she takes all these, like, to-go menus, and, like, she's reading out of the phone book, and, like, let's go to this Italian restaurant. Listen to this. They got great pasta and stuff like that. Holy cannoli. So he starts, like, trying to get Adam Sandler to break care, starts rubbing his hand, and Adam Sandler's just going, "Give me cancer now, God." I don't know why, but that was funny, too.
I remember doing that. Like, yeah, I remember that.
But anything from that time period, for sure.
Every stadium's got their stuff they do in their songs. Like Mississippi State, they got that. Alabama, University of Alabama. What's Clint? Doesn't Clemson play? What's their song?
Don't they play something coming down?
No,
when
what
they're
about
running
South
down?
Carolina?
South Carolina does the Sandstorm.
They do, yeah, Sandstorm by Darude.
Who does Sweet Carolina?
A lot of people do. Like, we do Sweet Carolina. A lot of people do Sweet
Do you?
Carolina. Yeah.
Well, like University of Alabama, they got Sweet Home Alabama, and then they do Dixieland Delights become
Yeah.
big. But I was listening to watching at North Dakota State, and they were playing that Alabama song. If you're gonna play in Texas, you gotta have a fill in the band. That's their song. Or one
North
of them.
Dakota State, really?
Yeah, because they go to Texas to play in Frisco every year.
That's true.
why they're playing.
Okay, yeah.
That makes
wow,
sense
that's pretty cool.
Jump around, House of Pain for Wisconsin. I've always enjoyed that tradition.
I've always wanted to go participate.
Yeah.
Jump around.
Yeah, it's kind of a rap song for the 90s. You might not know it.
It's pretty good.
Oh, I know that song.
Oh, okay.
Do you really?
Can you sing it? Can you hum a few bars?
Foo bars?
Hum a few bars?
Foo bar?
Football.
Foo bar. So,
I'll tell you later.
let's
If
get...
you beyond needing recognition.
Hey.
He knew what that meant. We've talked about it. Never mind. So recommendations. Who wants to start?
Well, to no surprise, I'm going to recommend the new Waco documentary. It's on Netflix. 3-part.
What's it called?
Waco American Apocalypse. I think is what it's called.
I think you're right. Yeah, that got recommended to me yesterday.
Did it?
On Netflix? Yeah.
A lot of behind the scenes stuff, and it doesn't give the whole leading up to. There's been other documentaries that kind of do that, and docuseries that do that, but this is basically from day one of the raid till day 53 or whatever it was, and just how messed up the whole entire thing was. So, I recommend it. It's good stuff.
Branch Davidians, baby.
Woo!
All right. Go ahead. Good sir. What's your recommendation?
A movie I watched on Netflix called Munich, The Edge of War.
Okay.
It's a lot about Neville Chamberlain. I thought it made Neville Chamberlain look a lot better than what I thought he was throughout.
Is that during the Munich Olympics?
No, the Munich Conference.
Okay.
World War II. Before World War II started. When they turned, they let Hitler keep the Sudetenland.
Yeah.
It was real good. But I thought it made Chamberlain look a little better than what I've studied about it through the years. Showed him in a better light.
So what?
I forgot two more.
I'll
tell them at the end. Go ahead.
So my recommendation is going to be Avatar: The Last Airbender, the series from Nickelodeon. Great television show.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It's a good television show.
Okay.
Good writing, good acting. It's been terribly misadapted into a live version by M. Night Shyamalan, but I think another live version is coming soon.
Okay.
So, but highly recommend that series. Great world building, great mythology, just good story, good heart to it, and it's a nice kind of like escape.
Roughly when will this
Escape
episode
show.
come out?
Sometime in April.
Well, I want to go ahead and throw a bonus recommendation out there for anybody listening at this time. Go see the Mario movie. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be fantastic.
And you haven't seen it yet. Fun fact.
Well, it's not out.
Exactly.
So, but since it's going to be in April, go see it. Like, there's no way that's not going to be a good movie. So, two more, both Chris Farley. So, one of my other favorite Chris Farley skits is where they do the Japanese game show. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Where they end up on the game show, and it's like if you get the answer wrong, they start like cutting their fingers off and stuff.
Yep.
And Chris Farley's like, "Oh my God, Martha, call the embassy!
Yeah,
let's get out of here!" And he makes it to the final round, and it's Mike Myers is the Asian game show host, right? And he's like, of course he's speaking in Asian, and Chris Farley's character has no idea what it is.
Speaking in Asian.
Well, speaking in Japanese. Sorry, speaking in Japanese. And he has no idea what he's talking about, so he's like just trying to, fuddle his way through. And he's like, at the very end, is like he's asked a question. He goes, or they get ready to clamp him to some electrical stuff, battery or whatever. And Chris Farley just fuddles through. He's like, no, me, suku, me, siku. And he goes, oh, no. And he goes through the whole thing. He, mispronounced one word. And they electrocute him at the end. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then the other one is where Chris Farley's at the restaurant, and he orders a coffee. Have you seen this one? So he orders a Colombian coffee, and it's like a blind taste test. Well, all these people are drinking. It's like, did you know we changed it with decaf? And it's like, oh, I couldn't taste the difference.
Yes, I have seen that. Yeah.
And also it comes to him, and it's like, we did have one that kind of ended in a bad way, and it's like a raw footage kind of thing, and he's sitting there, and he's drinking, and it's like, sir, did you know we changed your coffee with decaffeinated crystal? He's like, what? Yeah, we changed your coffee with decaffeinated crystal. He goes, you son of a... And he just starts, for the love of God. Like, they're hitting him with a pan, trying to get him to finally calm down, and then they go to it at the end, and he's all bandaged up. It's like, how do you feel now? I'm angry.
Yeah. I completely lost my train of thought because I had one that I was going to throw back out there that I okay. Oh, I know what I was going to say. One of the most underrated, I feel like, Chris Farley performances on television, film, wherever. Is it Airheads?
Yeah,
the movie.
Yeah,
when he's the cop.
Yeah. No. He's the mechanic in Airheads.
Which one's he the cop in?
Well, he's not really a cop, but he in Black Sheep he gets the cop. He gets the cop car.
No, this is. I think he's a cop here. Is it Airheads? Is that the name of the movie? Let's
Coneheads?
see. No.
I'm thinking of Coneheads.
No, it's Airheads. He plays he's a cop. Let's see. Chris Farley is Officer Wilson, a police officer involved in dealing with the hostage crisis.
Oh, okay.
Go and watch clips of that movie, or go watch the movie. Freaking amazing. Brendan Fraser, is stars in that movie along with Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley.
What's the name of it now?
Airheads, 1994.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. Have y'all?
I don't think I've seen it.
It's yeah.
What scene are you talking about, though?
Middle end, where again the hostage situation is going on, and Chris Farley's being Chris Farley as a cop.
Right.
Just imagine Chris Farley being Chris Farley as a cop trying to deal with a hostage situation, and that's exactly that's what it is. An underrated Chris Farley performance. Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Check it out.
Anything else, guys?
I don't think so.
I don't even know what episode number this is.
708.
Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, it probably is.
Possibly.
Don't forget, guys, to rate, review, and subscribe. And what that means is...
Please don't say it like that. That's weird.
Go to whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on and simply rate, out of 5 stars, your experience on this episode. For National Public Radio, I'm Nick Wilson. Thank you for tuning in to Talk.
Or go home.
Thank you.
Wait. I want to film this.
Hold on.
I want to film this. There we go.
There'll be plenty of time for filming later.
I feel like I've just been birthed.